What's up, everybody? This is Team B with your host Brandon, along with me, Bill Mack here, and this is Team B Presents, and we hope you enjoy the show.
Welcome, my friends, to another episode of Team B Wrestling WWE Weekly Review. We used to be This Week in WWE, but I had to change that because that's a show on the WWE Network, So anyway, appreciate you guys checking us out. We do this every week. Help us grow, ladies and gentlemen. Hit that subscribe button. Stick with us. Help us grow and stuff like that. Like grass starts and it grows. And it's not top-down philosophy. It's bottom-up, like grass. Grass, you plant grass and it grows up. So help us grow in the economy of YouTube. Anyway,
a little flower sprouting up through the roots of through the dirt. Just help us grow. Sprinkle little bits of water and just allow us to spring up.
No, like the great Tupac said, a rose that grew through concrete. We're the rose. We got to grow through the concrete, man. Getting the mainstream. Yeah.
I know, man.
But, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's just been an interesting week we've had here in wrestling and whatnot. But it's just that countdown to WrestleMania, and looking forward to it to starting out. Though I mean, I'm ready. I'm ready for that. Just a few more weeks, and we'll be good to go with it, man. I can't wait for it. I hope it's going to be a great lineup. So far since the matches are starting to form, and it's good because now you need to start building those storylines to it. So I'm definitely looking forward to for it to happen.
And ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind, if you stick with us, we're going to do a WrestleMania post show. We'll probably have a couple more people join us, and we're going to do an awesome post WrestleMania show right after WrestleMania. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. But Raw kicked off this past Monday with the New Day coming out, cutting a promo, promoting their Booty-O cereal, and apparently it's a legit cereal with a T-shirt in the box or something like that.
Yep, T-shirt in the box. Gotta have a Booty-O.
T-shirt in the box. And when I heard that, it made me think, well, it must not have that much cereal in the box if there's a shirt in it too. It must not have that much cereal in it. Because, you get them big – okay, I love cereal, ladies and gentlemen, because it fills me up and protein, all that good stuff. And you get them Honey Bunches of Oats, family size cereal, and the shit, it say family size, and you open the cereal bag up and it's like half full. Kind of like Doritos bags, just like nothing in there.
That's
what
true.
the hell?
That is so true. That happens.
I know it's based on its weight and stuff like that, but still, it looks like there's nothing in there. It appears like you're getting half of a box of cereal, no matter the size.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But to me, good, man. It really, but Booty-O's keeps you going.
Yeah, I like to try some of that, man. The cereal.
Don't try the booty. Try the cereal.
Well, I think WWE should have took advantage of Tombstone Pizza. Put Undertaker's name on it. Undertaker Tombstone Pizza. That would have been a good idea.
Well, you got to market it as you can, man. You got to market it whichever way you can. But that's just another merchandising thing, though. But they got it, man. People will buy that stuff. I guarantee you, no matter who you're catering to, that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen is you're going to have that such, that item out there. People can get it like Rock showed that, what was it, John Cena perfume cologne and John Cena alarm clocks and stuff. People actually buy that stuff. We laugh at it, but people actually buy it. They may not tell you they buy it, but they will. But yeah, man.
Well, WWE likes to take jobs at CM Punk once in a while, jabs at him rather. And when they were promoting the Booty-O cereal, they should have said, "Hey, unlike them ice cream bars that never came out, we got a cereal." They should have said that, man. I was thinking that too. I was thinking about them ice cream bars from CM Punk. Like, unlike so-and-so,
yeah.
Unlike so-and-so, we actually release a food. I got some heat for that, but they're baby faces now, apparently.
Well, you want to think so, but it's hard to tell. Like, the perception I got watching it was in that city, yeah, they were, and maybe they are trying to get them because, usually when people start chanting New Day rocks, they'll put them down, and then automatically then. And I thought they were going to do it then, but even when they did the promo in the ring, you kind of got that feeling like, well, maybe they're finally going to let them turn face, and not have people interrupt them. But it's just a fun thing, man. It really, really is.
I think so. Yeah. So they had a tag match against the League of Nations, and let me see. The New Day applies the Freebird rule, which is, any two of the three members can defend the tag team title. So that's all well and good. And Alberto Del Rio has no momentum, but he always comes out there super pumped up, super excited. Like, hey, man, I got no momentum, but I'm going to pretend like I got it anyway. He's trying, but he don't have it, man.
I feel so bad for him because you watch him fight, man. Like this match, I mean, it's like they get fired up and then they just totally, it's like New Day gets beat up, which I know the faces usually do, but it's just so funny watching how they interact the ring with the League of Urination. It's just a terrible, it's a terrible thing with Del Rio because he's got so much potential, yet they don't use him in the right way, and having him, and it's just, to me, it's been a horrible thing though. But it was a decent match, I mean, it wasn't nothing to really the cheer over. I'd give it probably 1.5 star for that match because to me it just does that. But I mean, hey, it wasn't too bad of a match. I mean, how it usually ends up, but I'll tell you, it was a pretty decent match. It really was. I mean, the big guys were going around. That's one thing I like. They're using the big guys good and effectively. Russo's a big guy. People really think he's short, but Russo's a big guy. And for him and Big E to go at it, because that was what I was wanting to see was how both of those guys were. Because, you have Woods already. Woods is going to be your weak link anyway. He's going to get beat down a lot. He's going to be the one that almost gets to the tag and gets pulled back 20 times. But
right.
It was a decent, a match going back and forth. And when you see Rusev and Big E tie up, and that going back and forth, that's what I like. I like watching two good sized guys clashing against each other, though. But it was a good, decent match.
By the way, yeah. Side note. Echo. 1, 2, 3. 3, 2, 1. Okay, back to normal. I was hearing an echo over here. Side note, man, I've been watching 1992 WWF, man, one of my favorite years, because I agree with Solid Monster on that. That was my favorite year as well. 91, 92. I love that period, man. I watched Royal Rumble 92, then I watched WrestleMania 8, and I probably watched SummerSlam next, man. It's just one of my favorite years. I love Ric Flair. That year, Ric Flair, I love that, man. He was the real world's champion. And, man, he did such a – you watch that Rumble 92 match, man. I totally agree with Solid Monster. Ric Flair was in there for over an hour, man, in that Rumble match. I know he's used to over an hour match, but he was wrestling the whole time, either getting beat on, selling, or doing offense. He wasn't just laying down the whole Rumble match, man. He was actually doing – I was like, man, how can it – all the workers in there were doing good. I was like, wow. I said, man, I mean, they never run out of energy back then. I was really impressed by that, and it's been a few years since I've seen it, and I just love Bobby the Brain Heenan because he was such a Ric Flair fanboy that year. He was like, "Don't eliminate Rick. We gotta protect Rick. It's not fair to Flair. It's not fair to Flair, man." That's when I like Ric Flair, because after Ric Flair's retirement, that's when I kind of just got tired of seeing him, But back in the 90s and the 80s, man, I loved Flair back then. And on the Four Horsemen, of course. And, man, after the Rumble match, 92, he cut that awesome promo backstage with Mean Gene. That's what Mean Gene said, put that cigarette out. And you got Ric Flair and Bobby the Brain and Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect, all celebrating, pouring champagne and shit. It's awesome. He was the cool heel. Ric Flair is the cool guy, at the time. In that time period. And I was watching him fight the Macho Man at WrestleMania 8, and the girls are winking at Flair. It was so funny. And he'd be blowing kisses at the women in the crowds and shit. It's funny, dude.
I know, man.
Macho Man! Macho Man, I got this picture of Miss Elizabeth here. She was mine before she was yours. Oh, man. Jake the Snake fighting the Undertaker, man. It's great stuff. I love Jake the Snake's ring psychology, man, especially his promos, even though he was on coke half the time, but he talked so low and deadly. Kind of like Bray Wyatt, but Bray Wyatt's a joke in comparison. I hate to say it, but Jake could cut a damn promo. It came off pretty serious. Then he would say, trust me. But yeah, no sell Undertaker, man. He DDT'd Jake the Snake DDT'd Undertaker like 3 times, and Undertaker just set up because of the power of the urn, and he tombstoned him, and that was it. But enough of the WrestleMania 8 talk. But yeah, I just love that time period, man. Because whenever I start to lose my passion for wrestling and stuff like that, ladies and gentlemen, I always just go to the past. Like, why do I care about this stuff? When you watch a bad Raw, this past Monday wasn't too bad, but generally when you watch a bad Monday Night Raw, you're like, why the fuck do I care about this shit? Then you go back into old school and you remember why. Right. You like, the wrestling, but it also makes you kind of like cringe when you watch some of the, when you watch Raw nowadays, corporate WWE,
Yeah, that's true.
You don't have Vince McMahon. You don't have Vince McMahon doing the announcing. Like when WrestleMania 8 started, you got doing the intro. You got Vince McMahon saying, "Welcome to WrestleMania 8. Tonight, Sid Justice takes on the immortal Hulk Hogan." It's just, you don't hear that shit no more. I was laughing my ass off, man. But speaking of Vince McMahon, we had him on Raw, though, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But so the Divas, they did their thing, and Brie Bella is having a feud with Lana. And Lana appeared on the Hulu version of Raw. So I got to see Lana for the first time in a while. And, to be honest with you, Bill, she's an attractive woman, Lana is, but I don't think she ain't as attractive as a Becky Lynch or Sasha Banks, in my opinion. She's like, she reminds me of an 80s schoolgirl porn star or something like that, Lana. The way she dresses and shit, she reminds me of like somebody like a chick from the 80s, because she's in her 30s dressing like a teenager. I mean, I don't find her that attractive. I mean, she is attractive, but I'm just saying compared to others, I might rather sleep with Naomi. I don't know. Naomi's kind of hot with that rear end finisher, and I think Natalya looks better than Lana. I don't know. I just ain't really feeling Lana that much. I guess because she's sleeping with Rusev in real life, and that attire, it just don't fit her. I liked her as when she wore the black dress, and she was the heel, and she would do like a 180 turn and show her ass. I don't know, man. I didn't pull out the Jet Gel rag for that. Did you do that?
Well, I just think that what they're basically doing is they're trying to move her out of that eye candy sort of role more into the diva role, then wrestle. That's why they're doing. That's why you seen her like, because I'd seen her. That's the first time I seen her was watching Raw the other night. I hadn't seen it because I've been watching Hulu and I hadn't been seeing her, but I just happened to watch the whole Raw, and that's the first time I seen her. And I noticed just by the way she dressed was totally out of element, because she went from the business style suits to the more of a cut short top, with a little jacket to cover the shoulders and stuff, but her midsection showing, and a little jean skirt, leather skirt she had on. That to me, I was like, okay, now she's dressing like the divas would dress, sexy. And she's training now wrestling because she's supposed to have that feud. So we see that she's trying to get more out of that, just the manager with Rusev, more to a diva now, and show her presence, which is what they're going to have to do. I mean, pretty soon after a while, they're going to have to quit that whole using that fake accent, because you only can go so far with that accent, only so long you can go with it. But, I guess when she made those And they said, you know, she's become, like you said, she's become more social media savvy now. We're posting so many different videos and pictures and stuff now. She's more out there. You know, you got no choice but to kind of let her open up now instead of being she's really threw a lot into that mixture where WWE was trying to have her and Dolph Ziggler together. When she posted that picture of her engaged, that really messed a lot up. Vince, that's why it took a few months to see her off of TV, because Vince wasn't happy at all with the way she did that, because she messed a lot of plans up. So now that's why you see her just now coming back like she has. But I think she looks better, dressing better to me, sexier that way than she did with the business suit on. But as far as, you know, being as sexy as, no, I think what it is just, it's just, you kind of got her picture as this Russian type fixture, and there are American girls, and we know we always favor, always favored American girls over the Russian girls. And it's just that you get that picture, even though she's trying to dress, and she is American, just like my head says Russian, Russian, Russian. So you compare it to a Becky Lynch, a Sasha Banks, you know, Nikki Bella or Brie Bella. Those, you know, you don't think of Lana in that same sense as you would with that. You know, it's like
I just don't think she's as attractive, even though she's an actress and she's got the long legs. I'm just not feeling her as much as other people are. I don't pull out the jit gel rag for her. But did you hear on DTKC show where they were talking about how Lana has these live stream videos, and the wrestling fans will say, "Hey, Lana, thanks for taking my question." And she's smiling the whole time in the video. And at the same time, you got people commenting saying, "Hey, Lana, you want to try anal sex?" and stuff like that. And you know she's reading it, but she's keeping a straight face. Right. I was like, man, the wrestling fans. We're so proud of our wrestling fans. You got one fan saying, "Hey, Lana, great work. Keep up the good work." Another fan saying, "Hey, you want to do anal?" You know, she's keeping a straight face the whole time. You know she's reading it. And, yeah, I mean, she just reminds me of an 80s blonde movie chick or something. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, she is attractive. If you damn right, I would go after that. If she existed in my presence here, sure. I'm just saying, compared to everybody else, she ain't nothing special. She was never the next Sable or nothing like that. I never understood that when they said she was I don't know, dude. The business look, I was like, she's kind of hot. But when she changed the tires, I was like, you kind of expose her a little bit. I was like, she's hot, but you know, I just like a cute girl, and she just, I don't know, like a steroid woman or something. You know, just don't look right. It's not attractive.
She's more.
Like you take off that makeup, man. She ain't gonna look all that, you know. But you know, beggars can't be choosers.
It's the fitness, man. It's the whole fitness thing. Lana is a fitness person. She is toned everywhere. She looks muscular, and that, you know.
I don't like her hair, man. I don't like her hair too much. I mean, I just nitpick. I'm just, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just nitpicking. You know, a woman like that. I like blonde, sure. I just don't feel it on her for some reason.
Okay, well, I understand that.
I mean, I guess, but another color hair wouldn't look right on her. I don't know, man. If it was up to me, I would take a Becky Lynch or Sasha Banks any day. You know?
Oh yeah.
I think I think Brie Bella is a gorgeous woman. You know, that's the kind of woman I fall in love with the long black hair and stuff like that over Lana. That's my kind of girl, in other words. But we're going to get off the divas, ladies and gentlemen, for you guys have to go take a bathroom break. But we had a promo. Triple H has been defending his title here lately, and my theory is he's doing that to get back into ring shape, to prep up for WrestleMania. He's having a few matches before Mania, you know, to get himself in shape. That's what I think's going on. That's why he had that match at Roadblock, and then he had a match on Raw this past week. So Triple H out there with his bitch wife, Stephanie, and you know, she is a bitch, man. I mean, she's a bitch on TV, and she's a bitch in real life. If you listen to some of the corporate interviews she did with the investors and all that.
Right.
I forget, she don't call us fans. She calls us something. I forget what it was, but anyway, she comes all kind of shallow to me. But she's a McMahon. What you expect? The only good McMahon is Shane, right? But anyway, they're out there cutting a promo, and they got interrupted by Dolph Ziggler, and Ziggler was like, I'm getting tired of I haven't quit yet, and blah blah blah. You guys will never get rid of me, and so he's having a back and forth exchange with Stephanie, and then basically Stephanie said, well, we're going to put you in a match with the champion, Triple H, tonight. And so they had that match going, and I thought that was a pretty good, quick match. I'm always a fan of, I still like Triple. I know a lot of people don't like Triple H anymore, but I just recognize the star power. I kind of like the part-time guys sometimes, and I always like Triple H. I guess he's my kind of guy, the shady businessman / cerebral assassin. He's cool to me, with the leather jacket and stuff like that. That's just that's my kind of guy. That's the way I would come to the ring. The leather jacket, blue jeans or whatever, sledgehammer, and then on the flip side, you got the corporate Triple H, the evil genius supposedly, So as a heel, I always liked Triple H as a heel, all the way back to Evolution. The only Triple H I didn't like was, I guess, when he was with China as a heel. But when he turned babyface and joined DX, that was cool. But anyway, him and Ziggler had a quick match. That was good for Raw, because Raw don't have that much anymore. So I thought that was cool. What was your thoughts about it, Bill?
Oh, I thought it was decent. I like the fact that to me, Ziggler is getting better with his promo work. They're giving him more promos. I've noticed they're giving him a little bit. Either he's giving it more, or they want him to show more passion.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you said that, because that's the thing, man. On WWE.com and like on YouTube, stuff like that, Dolph Ziggler will cut these really good promos, but you never see him like on Raw or SmackDown or whatever. And this past Monday on Raw, that was he got a chance to cut a good promo, because he's got it in him. And he does it. You just never see it. It's always on WWE.com or whatever. And so, yeah, you're absolutely right for pointing that out.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The match was pretty good. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't very long, but it was enough to kind of a good back and forth match. You can tell the difference between the match he had with Dean Ambrose and the match he had with Dolph. Triple H, as usual, his typical dominating style, which against Ziggler, which is an upper to lower mid card wrestler, and it to me, Ziggler got a few good spots in, a few good times around work over on Triple H, but and it was a typical Triple H dominated match, and to get the win at the end and all, but I thought it was pretty decent.
It's all about the game. You're gonna lay down for me, but hey, it's all about the game. Who's going to lay down for me? I'm going to pin Dean Ambrose clean. Hey, dude, guess what?
Yes.
Here's another side note. I was watching when I was watching 1992 WWF, and I saw people get the pinfall on other wrestlers in certain matches. Guess what? Their foot was under the rope, and the referee didn't call it. That shit does not matter, dude.
I know. And
that happened all the time, dude, because I was watching that, man. People get it happened on Raw this past Monday night. I forget what it was. I forget which match it was. But a lot they had their fucking. It might have been the League of the Urination and New Day. The person had his foot kind of slightly under the rope, and the ref was still counting. But that was a bullshit call. But anyway, so like you're saying, Triple H, Ziggler, they had a nice little back and forth, because Raw don't have that much star power, honestly, man. And Triple H is star power. I recognize that, but. Anyway, then we had this big, shocking moment. Roman Reigns appears on Raw to get his revenge. So Triple H wins via pinfall. Ding, ding, ding. And then you hear the Shields music. It's Roman Reigns. Give me your thoughts, Bill. What was your reaction?
Well, I thought it was. I knew he got the crowd's reaction as typical, which was booed out of the building. I thought it was oddly enough that for once, if you noticed it, that he did change his entrance. He didn't come through the crowd like he typically does. Now,
I hope they keep it that way too.
Everybody else was looking up in the crowd. Well, it does, because as I'm reading, and spoiler alert, since nobody really watches it anyway, he has the same entrance on SmackDown. He comes to the ring. Ooh. Through the what I read today is that WWE is stopping him from coming through the crowd. So I don't know what that. I mean, that's got something.
I know why.
Unless they're going to make him heel. You know.
No, I just figured it out, because they're giving him the title. That's why, and they'd rather him carry the belt from the entranceway. That's why, because they're going to give him the fucking title.
Yeah, but he had the title. And he used to carry it through the crowd.
Yeah, but he had people like pushing on him and stuff, and I guess to protect the title, they said, "Well, let's just have him come through the ring." I mean, that's the only rationality I can make out of it. You know, that's just speculation. I don't know, but I'm thinking they're just prepping him up for the title.
Well, it's about a foregone conclusion. You and I discussed the other night. We were watching the WWE Network special, Roadblock. It was just amazing to me how he basically, when he comes to the crowd. But what I like, man, what I'm starting to see, I'm liking that is intensity in his eyes. And I told you when we were talking on a previous edition, we were talking, and it's that intensity. They look good face to face. If you, I know you might not see it, but when they showed the graphics of Triple H versus Roman Reigns on Raw, they were intense. Look face to face, not the actual picture, but the promo work. You know, when they do the picture side by side. And
Roman's good, man. Roman would have been good in the attitude era as far as intensity goes. You're absolutely right.
They just don't need to let him be a Mickey Mouse. You know, they need to
keep him intense. Keep him intense like that. That's what he's meant to be.
Triple H, he whipped his ass. That's what he needs to be. He needs to go into WWE. He needs to go into WrestleMania like Triple H. You know, Triple H will get beaten 1 week, and then next week he's a badass and he'll beat whoever's there down. That's what Roman Reigns needs to do. Roman Reigns had his week off where he was the one beat. Then he comes and he beats Triple H. Triple H gets stitches in the side of his head from when he threw him up against that that section or wherever, fighting in the back. And and they had to get he had to get Usos and Jack Swagger and I think Mark Henry from busting that TV over his head, because you remember he hit him in the back with a television, ripped the TV monitor right off the side of the wall and hit him in the back with it. I thought it made him look stronger for a sense against Triple H to say, wow, this guy really is. You're not just saying, oh, well, it's the man they're pushing, Roman Reigns, but you look at him then and you say, well, he's a real hard ass when they let him be one. Why not let him loose and let him be that person? I mean, he was, from the time he stepped out there on the top of the ramp, he was dead serious. Didn't crack a smile. Didn't look around at the crowd. He looked dead at Triple H. I said, that's the intensity that he needs to have from now on. None of that wanting to slap the fans' hands. None of that, smiling, grinning, and calling people tater tots and all this other stuff.
No Rocky Maivia stuff.
Yeah, just go out there, be intense, let Triple H and him go back and forth until WrestleMania. Whether it's Triple H getting the best of him 1 week, him getting the best. That's the way feuds used to go. That's why they used to be so long with people. They went back and forth and they told a story. They've got a good amount of time. They got another 2-3 weeks for WrestleMania.
You know what it reminded me of when I saw them when Roman Reigns was physically beating the shit out of Triple H backstage. You know what it reminded me of? I said my reaction was, this feels like a WrestleMania storyline. This feels like because WrestleMania is 3 weeks away, and it was so intense. That was such a good fight, that beat down. I said, now it feels like a WrestleMania storyline. They got that part right. I hope they stick with it. Even though Roman Reigns got booed, I'm not a Roman Reigns fan, but like you said, if they keep him that way, that's great. Keep him that way.
Yeah.
And intense like that.
And that's right. And that's what it should be. And I know we haven't talked about it yet, which we'll get into in a little bit.
But that was one of my favorite things about, not to cut you off, that was one of my favorite things about Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle had that intensity to him, even though he was a smaller guy, but, he was an amateur wrestler, and he had that intensity in his eyes. That was part of his 3 eyes, intensity, integrity, intelligence. He had that, man. You knew he was focused, and
he was well what do you call it? Well crafted. He had to, because he went through his phase where he was joking and laughing and people were laughing at him, and then he was in his serious stage, and that's what
people bought into him. Yeah,
because I want Roman Reigns to just turn. I want him to turn, because as you've seen him, like I said, we ain't got into it yet. But if we talk about the whole Brock and Ambrose segments, awesome segments. That's why I said I haven't got that yet, but those were awesome segments on Raw. And people believe in that. Mick Foley, and we haven't got to that part with him on there yet. But there's so much intensity that you see in Ambrose, that craziness. But that's why when he was in the ring, people cheer Ambrose. He don't have to cater to the crowd. He don't really do nothing special to the crowd. People like his ethic, and they're not forcing him. That's how come WWE's like leaving Ambrose alone, focusing on Roman Reigns. That's why the fans are cheering Ambrose, because they're not pushing Ambrose down your throat. They're allowing you to taste a little bit of Ambrose, but they're not forcing him down your mouth. They take it. And that's why people hate Ambrose. You try taking cereal and that you don't like and saying, "Here, Bullet, take it." You're gonna get sick of it after a while, and you're not gonna want it. And anytime it says, "Hey, Bullet, take your cereal," you're like, "No, I don't want it. That's okay. Boo, I don't want it." You're gonna despise it. You're gonna despise it because you were forced to have to take it when you really didn't want to be forced to take it. You just would have, if they'd just let you have a little bit at a time, that's fine. That's why Ambrose is so good, because they're not really forcing him like that. He's basically coming in on his own, and the fans like that. And when you're not,
he's organic,
right? You let the fans at least draw to him. They'll do that, but when you're forcing him, nobody wants to be forced down anybody's throat. So I think that whole thing was a good segment with Triple H. And with him coming down, I'm like you said, it is indeed, you can tell it's a WrestleMania story, and I'm basically looking forward to it, considering what they do the next 3 weeks. That's the hard thing, because they knocked it out with him and Roman Monday night.
I agree. They really stepped up that storyline. I absolutely agree. Let's hope they stick with it, and it's got me looking forward to the match too. But I mean, I feel like it should be Triple H and Dean Ambrose in the main event of Mania. However, the Roman Reigns Triple H storyline has been going on so long that you should have it end at WrestleMania. So that's the way I look at it. So, but if they were listening to the fans 6 months ago or so, they could have went with Ambrose. But I'm fine with it. Here's my opinion. I don't think Roman Reigns Triple H match is going to close out WrestleMania. I think the last match on the card, the main event, will be Shane and Undertaker. I believe so, because I saw that poll where WWE was asking fans which match were you most excited for, and people said Shane versus Undertaker, and Triple H Reigns came in second. And I think Brock and Ambrose came in third or whatever. Or am I I'm not sure actually. I might have misspoke there. It might have, Triple H and Reigns might have came in third. I don't know. They just weren't number one.
But those are 3 main event matches, right? If you really think about it, where they are, you can't lose with either. I mean, I know that the stipulations with the Shane match and the world title kind of take precedent over Brock and Ambrose, but that in itself, the way it's shaping, and when we get to talking about that whole segment, it's got a good feel to it too. Like that could be a main event match as well. Because
it should. Well, it should. I think Shane Undertaker should close out WrestleMania because it's a bigger main event, and it's because WWE's had so many injuries. Cena, Orton, Cesaro, Rollins. You know, they didn't have a strong card for WrestleMania. So it just makes sense to close it out this way. WrestleMania 25, Undertaker, HBK didn't close out the show, you know, when it should have. It was okay, here's a better example. WrestleMania 18, The Rock versus Hollywood Hogan. That should have been the main event of that show, but it wasn't. It was Jericho and Triple H. So sometimes it just makes sense for a gimmick match to close out the show, if you will. You know, and I think it just makes sense this year to do it that way. Even though I'm all for the world title closing out the show, because I like to look at it from a sporty perspective. But I just think this year, considering the injuries and the weak card, Shane Taker should close out the show. And but anyway, Dean Ambrose was backstage in the locker room, and he was greeted by a friend and Mick Foley, WWE legend, and he had him a little gift, a passing of the torch, if you will. You know, he said, "Hey, that crowbar is pretty good, Dean Ambrose, but won't you try this out?" And he gave him a little present. He opened it up, and it was what, Barbie? Is that what he called it back in the day? Barbie?
I don't remember.
The baseball bat with the barbed wires around it, ladies and gentlemen. Mick Foley, signature weapon. He passed it to Dean Ambrose, and here's a passing of the torch. And I think that was good, man. He put him over like that, gave him Barbie, and now Dean Ambrose can come to the ring with Barbie, and now people connect it to Mick Foley, and that gives him more credibility. You know, it gives it even more credibility. That was a smart thing to do, in my opinion. You know, put him over like that. He was warning them. He's like, you know, I'm tired of. Only thing Mick Foley was like, I'm getting tired of hearing about Suplex City. I was like, yeah, suit yourself, Mick. But other than that, yeah, you know, it builds up the match better and gives Dean Ambrose a better chance of defeating Brock in storyline. You know, so I like that. What do you think about it?
Well, I'll start back from me. I'll just start back from the beginning of the night when it happened. Brock came out there. He came out there with Paul Heyman while Ambrose was out there. You know, and he starts talking his whole ladies and gentlemen stuff, and he was trying to say that he was going to shut that you know, Ambrose. He was kind of like trying to say Ambrose was delusional and how he was the only one that could keep Brock Lesnar at bay. And he's like, hey, keep him at bay. He's right there. He said if he wants a match, you know, he can have a match right now. And it was just showing his willingness, and he's like, you really want to get beat up kind of thing. Heyman was kind of telling him. You know, you come to this. It's kind of like Mick Foley was telling him at that segment, and you know when he was doing it, but he showed that, you know, he had that intensity because he had to be who he was. He wasn't going to back down. Sure, Brock may F5 him. Sure, Brock may hurt him. Sure, he's been through what he's F5'd him, but he was who he was, and I respect that about Ambrose. That's why a lot of people gain respect for Ambrose, is because this feud with him isn't just a one-and-done thing, that he's come back and he's like, I'm not going to let him. I'm going to have my piece of him. And even Cena hasn't done that. Cena was a scared little prick when he thought, when he had to have Edge come out of retirement to come talk to him about it. But Ambrose,
right?
Because when Brock started to come out to the ring, because, you know, Ambrose came out, he had his jacket zipped all the way up when he was talking. I'm like, that's mighty funny. He does it. Come to find out, he had that crowbar he had inside. That's where that crowbar come from. And he was baiting Lesnar to come in there. Lesnar circled the ring, and he thought he was going to run in there on him. And Lesnar, Ambrose came close to hitting him with the crowbar, right? Yeah. Yeah, and so
I forgot about that part, man. That segment, because I was on the phone when that happened, and the next thing I saw was a locker room segment with Mick Foley.
Yeah, no, that was okay. That was just kind of a little chip in there, but it was to me. Yeah, it was good to see that. That's what Mick respects, and that's what I like, because then we know Lesnar is mad. Lesnar is mad because he can't get in there and jump on Ambrose like he wants to, because Ambrose was waiting for him. He was like, no matter what, I got something for you. And Mick Foley, when he came into that locker room, he was like, are you sure you want to do this? Do you realize who this man is? Same thing Heyman said when he was out in the ring, and he said, yeah, I know. Right. He said, Mick, he said, why are you doing this? Why, Dean? And Dean went back. You remember that WrestleMania moment or the Hell in a Cell when he said, when you were on top of that Hell in a Cell, why, he said, were you afraid? And Mick said, yeah. He said, but why did you do it? He said, and when you were right close to that table, he said, why did you do it? He said, because I'm Mick Foley. That's who I am. And Ambrose said, yeah, I'm Dean Ambrose. And that's who I am. And you respected him. And Mick was like, you don't need this crowbar. You don't need this crowbar. And he said, this is Brock Lesnar. You need to have something a little bit more. Let's just call this a little bit of a passing of the torch. And he hands him this tall present. And I didn't, and kind of figure what it was. And then when he set it down, and when he opened it up and he set it down, you could see the little bat handle at the bottom of it, And you knew it was
Barbie.
that bat. Huh?
Yeah. I said it was Barbie.
Yeah. And he looked at it and he just smiled. And Foley left. And I'm like, good. Maybe this passing of the torch will work. Look what happened when Hogan tried to pass the torch to the Ultimate Warrior. When The Rock tried to pass it to John Cena. You look at these guys, different people claiming to pass the torch. But really, when is it really going to be passed? When are they going to allow these to take up? I like Ambrose. To me, it's between...
I said, yeah, that was a good segment, man. Passing the torch, absolutely right. But let's forget about Ric Flair passing the figure 4 leg lock over to the Miz. Let's forget about that a couple of years ago. This was a proper passing of the torch. This was legit. This weren't no Ric Flair passing the figure 4 to the Miz type of shit.
but DDP did pass the torch to the RKO. I mean, Diamond Cutter to the RKO over to Randy Orton. And that was funny because I respect Randy. Randy said, I'm going to call him. And he said, I'm going to call him and ask him if it's all right. And it was funny that DDP, when he was talking, said that when he remember when Randy had that called him about using his finisher to be that one, as his finisher. I was like, that's great respect. I like Orton. I mean, Orton ain't where he used to be, but it's like I told you, dude, my favorite guys so far are Owens and Ambrose. I love Owens and Ambrose. And I like Randy Orton, even though he's older. He came in when Cena came in.
Well, see, Randy Orton, Triple H are the type of veterans I don't get tired of. Yeah. Undertaker, I get tired of. Part-timers like that I get tired of. But Triple H, I'm not tired of him yet. You get tired of The Rock a lot of times. And people like that. But Randy Orton, I never got tired of Randy Orton. I feel like they run out of things for him to do. But, I'm not tired of him yet because by the time you get tired of Orton, he gets injured or takes a break or something like that. But I've always been an Orton fan. I loved Orton back in 2009 when he became when he had a legacy with him and he was punt kicking everybody and he had that disorder. He had OCD, not OCD, but some kind of EDE disorder or some shit. Anyway, in other words, he's got some kind of mental illness to where he wants to punt kick everybody. And yeah, that Orton was good that year, 2009. And he had that feud with CM Punk in 2011. Orton was a babyface then. CM Punk top heel. That was a good feud. When I happened to see in person actually at WrestleMania 27, CM Punk and Randy Orton, very good match. And I didn't know who to pull for because I love Orton as much as I love CM Punk. And I was like, who do I go for? Who's the lesser evil here? Who's more evil? I know, man. It was funny that they did that. But I've always liked Orton, whether it's good or bad. Heel or bad. Me too, because he's a superstar, man. I knew that when he first came in WWE. I said he's a superstar. Because when new guys debut, you're like, well, I don't know. Like when Neville debuted, you're like, is he going to be a main eventer someday, or is he just a throwaway talent? You just don't know. But when Orton and Cena debuted, you knew they were going to be top guys eventually. You knew they were going to get there, and Batista as well. When Batista first came out, you knew he was going to be a big deal one day. I even remember Batista on SmackDown when he was Devon Dudley's manager, Decon Batista, whatever they called him. And Batista, before Batista joined Evolution, Ric Flair was his manager. Ric Flair was like, "Woo! I ain't seen one like you in a long time." He came in with Devon. Remember, he was brother Devon. Yeah, That's what I was saying. Yeah. And then they put him with Flair as the manager, and then Triple H, and then they all got together and they got Orton. Evolution. That's right.
Buddy. To me, I love Evolution. That's one of the WWE factions I do like that came out there was Evolution, man. They were all.
That's the last WWE T-shirt I ever bought was. It was 2004 Evolution and RKO World Tour from Randy Orton. That T-shirt, I had that one with the legends on the back of the shirt of all the legends he's killed. Legend Killer Tour shirt. Yeah, that's the last WWE merchandise I had. You know, I kind of grew out of the buying the merchandise and all that shit, but the shirts were still pretty cool. And if I had the extra money and stuff, I would probably, you know, buy the shirts and stuff like that because they're cool shirts. They, you know, Randy Orton's had some cool shirts over the years. Dean Ambrose got some nice shirts. You know, I would never buy a Cena shirt, but you know, whatever. Different strokes, different folks. You know.
Oh yeah, here's a non-Hulu news match that you did not see. I know it couldn't have been on there. Well, Sin Cara versus Ryback.
Oh, didn't see it.
Okay, get Sin Cara. I knew when I saw this match, I was like, it's not going to be on Hulu. Sin Cara comes out there with Kalisto. You know, Kalisto has been getting this push the last 2 or 3 months as Rey Mysterio 2.0, right? Well, you know, Kalisto comes out there and he has his white mask on with his tights and stuff on and I'll come out there with the U.S. Championship. Well, it was a tag match. It was the Lucha Dragons. I mean, it wasn't a tag match, but he was out there with Sin Cara. Sin Cara come back now. You know, Sin Cara just got back. Well, it was against Ryback. Well, Sin Cara comes out there, oddly enough, and he's wearing a black mask and black tights. So they're not wearing the same outfits as they used to when they were Lucha Dragons, which are trying to give, you know, Kalisto that singles push. But it was just odd to see them with separate because ever since they've been on there together, they've had the same outfits. But he had this black mask on and this black outfit and stuff on that he wore to the match because he was facing Ryback, which, you know, Ryback, that's Goldberg 2.0. Or
Gilbert 2.0, however you want to look at it. But Ryback's big. I'll give him credit though. Ryback is thick. He's a short man, but he's real built. He's real muscular. He's got mass. He's more massive than a Goldberg, you know, but he's just not as tall as a Goldberg, but he's more massive.
Right. You know? And all this match was a preload that he was beating up Sin Cara and he was like told Kalisto, I want you to put your U.S. title up for grabs, or this is what I'm going to do to you, or if I'm such a big guy and you're a little guy and all this, why don't you put your title up against the big guy? So then Kalisto, you know, which is to make another match because you got to have the titles defended at WrestleMania. So Kalisto, I think, ends up agreeing to allow to put the title up against Ryback after Ryback basically destroys Sin Cara. So it wasn't much of a match other than him getting on there and doing that. So, you know, it's just amazing how that happened though. But yeah, man, it was just something else you know, going on with
my thoughts on Sin Cara is they never got the Rey Mysterio push with Sin Cara. So they put him in the Lucha Dragons, the Botcha Dragons. Okay, Kalisto got the Rey Mysterio spot. So where's that leave Sin Cara? That leaves Sin Cara bitter because he's going to be out of a job because they don't need 2 Rey Mysterios. So I would have them have a feud. Sin Cara's bitter, jealous, and I think that would be a good feud going forward. Let's not leave out Sami Zayn had a match on Raw against who was it? I don't even remember, but he won the match and Kevin Owens was on commentary and chewing out Michael Cole, and that was hilarious. And Sami's okay. I like Sami Zayn, ladies and gentlemen, but I don't like his theme music. Like my man Bill said, it sounds like Saturday morning cartoons music. This is what I think. Sami Zayn should have rock music as his theme because back in the Attitude Era, everybody had like a rock theme or a rap theme. But WWE corporate wants to be all pop music. They want to appeal to pop music and hip hop and shit like that. And Sami Zayn has to come out there to cartoon music. He should have a rock and roll theme, some kind of rock music. You agree with that, or?
Yeah, I don't like that cartoony music he doesn't have. I agree.
Okay, before I forget, I'll tell you who they got it right with, and that's AJ Styles, because he's got a hip hop theme, but it fits him and it's cool. It ain't no fucking cartoon music, you know.
Yeah, I seen that dude. I feel like, you know, I like Sami Zayn and you know, with the music and whatnot. It's just, and like you're talking about AJ Styles, it took me a while to get adjusted, because I remember his phenomenal his music from TNA for all these years, and his old when he turned to dark AJ Styles, but I remember those, so it took me a little while, but yeah, I could get used to that. It's kind of like when you listen to Kurt Angle's, when you first heard Kurt Angle's on WWE for so long, and then you hear him on TNA, and it takes you a little bit of time to get used to it. Then you say, well, it's kind of pretty good. That's what I'm having to get adjusted to. I'm not used to hearing a hip hop version of AJ and that being his music. I was so used to hearing his phenomenal I think it can go either way, hip hop theme or rock theme. But my thing was, what I said, my reaction to AJ Styles theme was, it could have been worse. That was my reaction. It's not bad at all. Yeah, but it's
right. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, well, it could have been worse. That's fine, you know.
Yeah, you know? I don't complain. I wouldn't complain.
I mean, look at Sami Zayn's theme coming out there to the Flintstones, you know.
That's horrible. It's kind of like that too. And you imagine what's going to happen when Bayley comes to the roster. I mean, you hear her theme too. She got that kids theme too. You know, when she does that little kids poppy beat sort of, and it's just funny how that happened. That's the case. But I don't know, dude. It's just, I'm just looking forward to, you know, for that. But yeah, AJ's music is not bad at all. I mean, it's cool. I can get it, you know, and it's got a good message to it. So yeah, I can understand that and them changing, because they don't have a lot of hip hop beats as much as they did, like, you know, when they were doing an Attitude Era, when they had like it was all Motorhead, and you know, like when he did D-Generation X, and you know, Eddie Christian and stuff, and you know, and all. But to me, it's been pretty good. I'm looking forward to
WWE. WWE is usually pretty good with their entrance music for all their superstars. It's just sometimes they have, like Sami Zayn, it don't make no sense to me. I mean, he might as well come out there with Fred Flintstone theme.
Remember, Randy Orton had that same problem with his music.
What, the Burning My Light theme?
Yeah,
I like that one though. I mean, the Viper gimmick is better, but I like the RKO Burning My Light gimmick. You know,
but he only
theme. I like that. So what now?
No. That wasn't the one, was it? What's the one he only played once and then CM Punk got it?
Oh, this Fire Burns Kill Switch Engage. That didn't fit Orton. It didn't fit Orton, but it fit CM Punk. I liked it. I like Kill Switch Engage actually, but that theme fit CM Punk.
Yeah, because he was that extreme rock generation type, you know, that look he had and all.
Heavy metal, hardcore scene.
Yeah, but Randy Orton didn't like the Burning My Light. He just hated it.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that. But I never had a problem with it, because it fit him as a rookie when he was going after all the legends, and he was the legend killer. It fit him at the time, and when he turned on Evolution, or when Evolution turned on him rather, and, you know, it fit the time period. But when they gave him the Viper music, it made him more serious. You know,
right?
So well,
that's true, and he is to be taken seriously. Even no matter who he fights, he is to be taken seriously. He's a serious-looking individual here.
That's why he RKO'd Donald Trump, man. You know?
Just
RKO Vines video, ladies and gentlemen. We got There's an RKO Vines video where Randy Orton RKO's Donald Trump. And we don't talk politics on our show, but whatever, maybe that'd be a good or a bad thing for you guys to check out. But, you know, I thought it was pretty fucking entertaining.
It was.
But what are you going to say? What are you going to say, Bill?
No, what I was saying was a side note here. The newest inductee nominated to the 2016 Hall of Fame announced this week is Miss Jackie. Jacqueline, remember Miss Jacqueline from the Attitude Era? She was a two-time WWF World Women's Champion, and oddly enough, one-time WWE Cruiserweight Champion. So, you know, she
showed her nipple. Oh, I remember Jacqueline. She showed her nipple in the Attitude Era. Nip slip.
Yeah. When her
one of them
Sable was fighting and Sable ripped her shirt off and she didn't have no bra on underneath her shirt.
Yeah, something
they
like
showed
that.
a menu of that the other day, but that was funny. But yeah, man, she and she's from Texas too, but she should go in. She was one of the first what they could not divas, but really the last of the true women wrestlers back when Ivory and all of them was there. But she deserves to go in. I think she's, like I said, she's fought for a good for quite a few years, even dating back before the Attitude Era. So just to tidbit, she was inducted. She's going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. All we're basically waiting on rumors is that Big Boss Man is going to be inducted. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I think we forgot to mention that last week, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm very happy to say that the Big Boss Man is going into the Hall of Fame. The only thing it's just me nitpicking. The only thing I didn't like about Big Boss Man's Hall of Fame promo video, package video, highlight video, if you will, is they didn't show the SWAT member, Big Boss Man, and when he came back in the Attitude Era and he's feuding with Al Snow and he feuded with the Big Show. They didn't show him with the black attire, the SWAT member uniform, because I like Boss Man better in the SWAT uniform. But I get it though, because Big Boss Man was a character in the 80s and the early 90s. He was very over with the crowd. Hell, I just seen him on WrestleMania 8, man. Yeah, people love the Boss Man. He was one of my favorites too, and I liked him in WCW as Ray Traylor, not the Guardian Angel, but Ray Traylor. That was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, Jim Cornette and the Midnight Express, and he got up there and they had to do scalpel matches. He got right up there with him too. That time he was fighting Ricky, and
he was a good
fighting. So
Boss Man was a good worker. He was a good worker. He was a big guy in the 80s, but when he came back with the SWAT uniform, he slimmed down a lot. He lost a lot of weight, and anyway, he wasn't the best worker in the world. But I studied criminal justice. I always liked law enforcement type of stuff, depending on whatever it is. You know, sometimes pro police, anti police in a given day, but. Yeah, man. I was like, hell yeah, go get him, Boss Man. He come out there with the handcuffs, and he had that feud with the Mountie, man. The Mountie was the Canadian cop, and then they had the American cop, Boss Man, they had going after him. That was a good feud, and so they're not going to talk about the Al Snow stuff and Boss Man, but that's fine. He still had a good career, you know.
Oh yeah, he did.
Same thing with what's his name? The Godfather. They're not going to talk about the Good Father or Papa Shango. So that's fine.
That's exactly they won't.
It's the 80s Boss Man, and that's fine because he was in them WWF cartoons. He was a superstar. He was up there. He had a feud with Hogan, a short feud with Hogan, and all kinds of stuff. He was part of what was it? The Twin Towers. With Hakeem, the African Dream, a.k.a. One Man Gang. Oh, man, Hakeem was terrible. The African Dream, he was terrible in that outfit because he would want to rub his ass in your face and stuff. Ugh, just nasty, man. Just nasty, dude.
You played Rikishi?
Ugh. Yeah, he was the precursor to Rikishi, man. It's fucking nasty. But as One Man Gang, he was all right. But anyway, yeah, he was teamed up with Boss Man for a short while, and yeah, man, that was a golden age for me. But yeah, let's move on. Unless you got some more thoughts.
No, not on that particular one. Yeah, but I just had things popping in my head as it go. Did have an injury update though. That happened on Raw. Neville was had a match against Jericho, and he went to do the baseball slide underneath Jericho, and when he did, he rolled back on his ankle, so he messed his ankle up. And what happened was the referee didn't see him, and you seen him, and they were showing him saying when he was Jericho, he was like he could tell Jericho could tell something was up because Jericho. I love Jericho that Jericho was watching him. Because Jericho noticed something was up, and when he tried to do that, was going to do that up against the rope, and that, I guess, a moonsault, he couldn't make it. And then he was leaning down holding his ankle, and he said, I rolled my ankle. And Jericho's like, he's hurt. And then he went to Jericho noticed that, and when the referee, he rolled Neville up, the referee wouldn't count to 3, and Jericho's like, he's hurt, and he shoves the referee. The referee don't know what's going on. See, he thinks it's something, I guess he thinks it's part of the line or something, but he tells Jericho back, so they're yelling back and forth for real. And Jericho's like, he's hurt. And,
I saw that. Yeah.
And you can hear him yelling. It's like he's hurt. And then he shoved the referee.
I was just laughing, man. I'm sorry.
It was just funny because he simply was, he was like, he was trying to tell the referee, and the referee says, don't put your hands on me. Jericho says, don't you touch me. And he calls him motherfucker and all this stuff. And then finally, at the end of it, he has to disqualify Jericho because he's obviously, he ain't going to be able to be, Neville ain't going to be able to continue that match. And it only was like a 2 or 3 minute match, though. So that just to throw another injury update, add that injury onto the other pile of injuries that WWE has gotten over the last 2 or 3 months have been really, I'd say, dude, the last 6 months have been really awful for these wrestlers getting hurt. But they wrestle so much, and you hear them say, well, they need an off season, but Vince ain't gonna do that, and they say that they're gonna wrestle regardless. So, but that's a little tidbit.
No off season. No off season WWE. You got to go to Ring of Honor, Lucha Underground for off season, But yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I feel for WWE having all them injuries right now.
It's really hurting their cards, and that's what That's why you said last week, Shane really versus the Undertaker was really just a filler because they don't have any other guy. I mean, how desperate, I'll say, is it enough that they have to call poor old Shane in, who ain't took a bump in years, that's been outside of WWE doing his own thing, and to come back in to fight the Undertaker in a Hell in a Cell and to take possibly more bumps. That tells you what there is, though. But
good idea. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of WrestleMania 26 when they called up Bret the Hitman Hart to have that match with Vince McMahon at WrestleMania 26 that nobody remembers. Bret versus Vince. You remember that gimmick match? That's what it reminds me of because they built WrestleMania 26 on that. HBK Undertaker Part 2. And there's Bret Hart. He's returned to WWE, and he's going to fight Vince McMahon. And that match was no good, because the Hart family came out there and assisted Bret because he can't do anything anymore. And that was just a gimmick match. Yeah. That's what this kind of reminds me of. But it's going to obviously be a better match, I would think, because, Bret had a stroke. He can't do much. Shane, on the other hand, he's been training, man. He can't punch worth a damn, but he's been training. He can he can take some bumps. Shane's going to take some bumps. So the Hell in a Cell they're going to deliver. Okay, so that leads us to the main event. It's the game. Nah, but actually, Shane McMahon versus Triple H will be a feud I like to see because you got the son versus the son-in-law. I actually like to see that.
He generally does not like him. You remember the last week when Dean Ambrose said, "You don't like Shane, do you?" He knows because they said that was a rib on Triple H because they know Triple H don't like Shane at all.
I like to see that. Yeah, I like to see that. But so anyway, main event. It was a promo. Vince McMahon came out there. He said, "Let's bring out my greatest creation," and Undertaker comes out there. Shane McMahon comes out there dancing, doing his thing, shucking and diving, and he was kind of dancing around the Undertaker, and it looked real awkward, when Shane did his entrance and he was dancing in the ring around Undertaker, and Undertaker was looking at him like he was crazy. That looked kind of awkward, and you can hear Michael Cole on commentary go snorting on his little snorts he does. I was like, man, this is so silly. This is just so silly. Then you even have people in the crowd laughing in that segment. I'm like, man, this is your WrestleMania main event, and you got Michael Cole snorting on commentary, and you got people in the front row laughing because you got Shane McMahon shucking and diving around the Undertaker. I was like, what if the Undertaker started dancing like that? That would just be so funny. Like, yeah, let me do that dance with you. And Undertaker just came off like, I guess he's like, I don't understand why he's doing it. He's like, I don't take orders from you, Vince, and Shane, you don't want to mess with me. I guess he's like the middleman. He's not really helping Vince, but Shane talked a little smack to Taker, and it kind of pissed off Taker. And hopefully they'll do some more. Maybe we can get some more answers out of Undertaker on why he agreed to this match and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the way I look at it is Taker wanted a match, and it just happened to be Shane, and blood's on your hands, Vince. And I don't know. I thought Taker was going to turn heel there for a second, but he didn't. And anyway, him and Shane got physical, and Shane's trying to throw punches at Undertaker, and I just weren't buying into it, man. Him getting offense on the Undertaker, I just weren't buying it. Undertaker chokeslammed Shane only because Vince McMahon pushed Shane into the Undertaker's hand for a chokeslam. I mean, I'm not buying into that. But what'd you think about it? I mean, it was cool, but just silly to me. Silly.
Yeah, I agree with you too, man. It didn't, because to me, the whole situation looked like it was a match thrown together. There's not a whole lot of substance to it. Like when they did the Brock Lesnar and Undertaker build up to it, even though it was about a month or two before, to me, they got more substance out of it. Shane is not the physical type to kind of go after an Undertaker. And, they tried to punk with the Undertaker because the only way he got Shane was when, you remember, Vince pushed Shane into the Undertaker. And that's how the Undertaker chokeslammed him. And right there at the end of the night, I just feel like it was a filler match, and that this isn't a true Undertaker match in my opinion. I just feel like, I can understand the situation, which, like I told you last week's WWE talk, we talked about how it was just Shane's going to hit the high spots, Undertaker's going to work the match, a regular match, because he can't do many high risk maneuvers. You don't look to see the Undertaker take those bumps like Shane will. That's not going to happen. You're not going to see a jump off the top from the Undertaker or Undertaker falling.
Shane's going to do it. Shane's taking all the bumps. Shane's taking all the bumps in that match.
Exactly. So really, who is it really benefiting to see Shane doing all the work and the Undertaker, and he's still not retiring? I just don't know what they're looking for, which, like you said, dude, it didn't happen this WrestleMania, but probably next year is if John Cena's the one to put him out. I mean, I'm done seeing everybody else, and if he didn't go out this year, I'd rather him go ahead and let John Cena put him out. As bad as that sounds, John Cena's the only one that they're going to allow to basically do that. I don't know if the Undertaker would want, Undertaker's already fought Triple H. He's already fought, everybody else. I just think Cena's the only person, unless it's Roman Reigns or Owens by then, to put him out. He needs to be put out. He can't go much longer, anymore. And you only see him.
I think you should just. I agree. He needs to retire soon, but I don't think he should lose his last match. I think it should be he'll win his last match and ride off into sunset and do like a career celebration on Raw the next night or something. But I don't think he's going to lose again at Mania. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know. The streak's over with. They did mention the streak though on Raw. So that, it's like Undertaker's 22-1. They brought up the streak again. I was like, So I mean, I don't know, man. When you had Shane McMahon finally face to face with the Undertaker, and you have Michael Cole snorting on commentary, it just looked awkward to me. It just looked awkward. When you finally see him face to face, it's not believable, and it looked awkward to me. Now it's going to be an awesome match or whatever, but it had me snorting. It was awkward, man.
It's just because it doesn't look like a serious WrestleMania level type match. If it was an Extreme Rules match or a tables, ladders, and chairs type match, then I could see that fitting in with that. But for it to be a WrestleMania type match, no. And then it's a Hell in a Cell, but you don't really have weapons in Hell in a Cell. It should have been a street fight. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
That way Shane can come out there with a bat or a steel chair or something with him or something. That's what he should have. He should be carrying a steel chair with him. I'm like, okay, Undertaker, I'm ready to fight you at Mania. Have some kind of weapon with him so it's more believable. Right. No, you're just gonna fight him bare hands, because Shane's got these powerful punches, and stuff like that.
Oh, I know. He looks like a Tyrannosaurus Rex trying to fight somebody, and Tyrannosaurus Rex got the shortest arms in the world anyway. But
it's like trying to fight a bear barehanded in the forest. I mean, come on, you got to have some kind of arsenal with you.
Mm-hmm.
But that's pretty much all. Go ahead.
Oh, just didn't want to say before we closed out. I wanted I've got to do my weekly Raw rating report coming in here.
Time for the rating.
Yes, indeed, folks. This is Bill Mack here with your weekly WWE Raw rating here, and coming in this week with the return of Roman Reigns and the Shane Undertaker confrontation. Actually did overall a 3.46 million viewers, which is below last week's 3.5 million. Although it's interesting that the third hour is actually stronger than it usually is. The 8 o'clock hour got 3.71. The 9 o'clock hour got to 3.39, which it dropped almost 80,000 viewers. And then the 10 o'clock hour actually went up 120,000 viewers. So the last hour actually was bigger than the first hour, which is usually the reverse. So we see that it has come in that actually did, a pretty good overall. So last week it did it went down a little bit, but it's still time. It's still building the matches. So, I thought that the Raw actually done pretty good considering the low turnout rating of watching it. So that's what it basically boils down to. So, is the viewers is getting that 11 o'clock, that 10 o'clock hour is getting more ratings, which is good because now people are actually wanting to tune in to see what's going to happen at the end. They just need to keep that steady because you want that 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock hour to be the biggest one because you want everybody to be tuned in and not tuned out because that's a 3-hour show. So, and one more thing, and as you and I have talked about, this is the updated rep card for WrestleMania 32. You have the WWE title match, Roman Reigns versus Triple H, Hell in a Cell, what we just talked about, Shane McMahon versus The Undertaker, and if Shane wins, of course he gets Raw. You have a no-holds-barred street fight with Ambrose and Lesnar. Triple threat for the ladies' Divas title. Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch versus Charlotte. And don't forget, dude, the Andre Memorial Battle Royal was first, as it usually is during WrestleMania. So look for, we ain't gave her really anything who we think will win, which we got about 2 or 3 choices.
I don't care about that. I think the Andre Memorial Battle Royal should have just been a one-time deal at WrestleMania 30, or do it every fifth year.
Because remember Hogan, when Hogan left, they wanted to try to tie something to another big name. So if they didn't have Hogan, they might as well do something with Andre.
I love Andre, man. Absolutely, Andre was one of my favorites, man.
Battle Royals never really meant anything other than
right. I feel like it should have been a one-time deal. But I love Andre, and this it just feels played out, man. Just you're gonna time to a.
We got left. The only ones that don't. I'm saying my pick will be either Mark Henry. It'll be either Wade Barrett. You know he's leaving in June. I see either Mark Henry or it could be the Big Show, which the Big Show won last year. And
which that made sense. That made sense. You know.
Oh, give you a flashback, dude. Remember when Cesaro won the Andre Battle Royal?
He picked up Big Show and threw him out the ring.
I watched that the other night, the replay of that, not the whole Battle Royal, but when Cesaro picked up the Big Show and threw him over the top rope, man, I was like, just how strong is Cesaro, man? This one guy is strong as shit. I have not seen anybody that legitimately strong. Probably Cena would be one. But I tell you, man, Cesaro, if he was in the right gimmick, man, he has nobody to play with because he just picked. I mean, Hogan had Andre to help pick him up. He did that little jump. You watch Andre do it. But when Cesaro, remember, he uppercutted the Big Show, and Big Show like went against the ropes, and he leaned forward. When he leaned forward, Cesaro literally picked him up and threw him over the top. And I was just amazed at how strong he actually, as Cesaro actually is, though. But, you know, that was just a moment I remember seeing an Andre thing I thought was pretty cool when he threw on the Giant or Big Show over the top rope. Just three more matches. The Usos are going against the Dudleys, and thank God. You know, there ain't too many tag teams left that's going to fight the Dudleys. They've already fought about the only tag teams left. Title matches haven't been confirmed, but probably going to happen. Kalisto versus Ryback, and New Day versus the League of Urination. So that is your updated, as of right now, card. Don't look for too many more matches to happen because basically all the storylines are basically set now, and now they're only going to go forward. So that is your updated WWE card for WrestleMania 32.
And ladies and gentlemen, like I was saying, we're going to do a WrestleMania post show, and we might even do a WrestleMania predictions show coming up in the next week or so. We might do a prediction show for WrestleMania. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, please sub to us if you want to. If you're watching this from my channel, sub to Bill Mack. He's one of my featured channels here, and check out our peers over there at Wrestling Soup, Don Tony, Kevin Castle Show, NoDQ.com, and the RCWR Show with Lee Sanders. Pretty good people. We don't know them, but Wrestling Soup follows us. But
Monster?
Well, actually, they do know us. Yes, Solid Monster. Can't forget Solid Monster. He's the king of the jungle, Mr. Solid Monster. But DTKC Wrestling Soup, they know me from the chat room because I'm always talking shit to them, especially Don Tony. I give Don Tony credit. I'm like, hey, man, I ain't going to troll you like everybody else. And then he'll say something stupid, and I start trolling him. Fucking Trump supporter, but hey, whatever floats your boat. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, appreciate you guys checking us out, and stay tuned and look forward to WrestleMania predictions post show and TeamB WWE Weekly reviews coming up, and help us grow, ladies and gentlemen, and y'all take care.
Peace.